Hello and welcome to The Last Standee, a board gaming podcast brought to you from 3 exciting countries across Europe. I'm your host Alessio, and today we will talk about a lot of stuff for which we didn't take note about, except for Cara. So I'm joined here today by the aforementioned Cara.
Hello.
And Fen.
Hello, and I'm sure the viewers will know what we're going to be talking about because it may well be in the subject, even if it's a surprise to us.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if I'll put the subject because it is a mess today, and we
Mystery
will start...
grab bag.
And we will start with the usual Standee Catch-up. So, before I get crazy with this unpreparedness, Cara, what are you doing?
Yeah, so today I'm not doing too well because of ADHD and stuff.
Great!
Yeah, but overall, it's okay. I have started playing Tidal Blades Part 2, Rise of the Unfolders.
Yeah, the sequel to the award-winning Tidal Blades.
Yes, exactly. And so that will be a topic for a future episode. I have conflicted feelings. And apart from...
I love your conflicting feelings about games.
Yeah. Apart from that, I'm very busy with work. I'm hoping I get transferred for next school year, so I will have a shorter commute. It's finally getting warmer, and we haven't seen snow for a long time, which is very nice. And I also bought a new computer monitor, which just before this recording arrived. So after this recording, I will set it up. After about 20 years, I will switch to full HD.
Oh yeah,
it will be amazing. And yes, dear listeners, it's the year 2026, and Cara, who's teaching IT in high school, doesn't have an HD monitor. And so
which would have been outdated in 2020 anyway.
I mean, let's not judge, because I'm still on the same PC I had when I first moved to Sweden, and one of my monitors is the same one that was attached to the computer I had when I was in the UK. We're still with a UK plug, because I can't afford to change them. So,
I mean,
you upgrade when you can.
Yeah, I mean, the monitor I'm using is 20 years old. I bought it when I was still in high school myself, and it was a time when full HD was on the rise, but it was like, it's like really expensive and doesn't really do so much.
Yeah, it's a fad. Who do you think will buy HD? Next year we will forget about HD and whatever.
But I decided it's time. So really looking forward to that. Maybe my computer isn't compatible. We'll see.
No, I don't think so.
That's about me, I think. What about you, Fan?
Well, apart from spending most of 2-3 days bedridden, chronic illness, yay. Yay. Not completely bedridden, but having to go back for rest a lot because just been through another round of antibiotic treatment, and all it's done is spring back even harder. So I don't know what to do about that. But at least that I can speak to doctors again and see. Outside of that, I've also had a wonderfully frustrating time of, what about I talk about this? I've been playing this and then realising I can't. So here's a list of things I can't talk about right now. Number 1, 10B, because I haven't had a chance to play it enough. Number 2 is the War Chest expansion. I don't know the name of it. Night Siege, maybe? I'm not sure. Lance of Galzia, which I have been playing, but I've not encountered hardly any of the expansion content because it's kind of just added in. Yeah. So I've had some fun sort of exploring things, but I've been like, this is a new piece of content, but a lot of the rest isn't, so I don't really know how to even get to reviewing that.
Yeah, I don't think reviewing the expansion really works because it's just integrated into everything. And
exactly. You can't even really review the new character because they're a little bit different to the others sort of the start end, but because you can kind of meld the characters in whatever direction you want, they eventually their own personal stories sort of fall a bit to the wayside, and it's more about exploring the world. And then there's Defenders of the Wild that I was like, cool, maybe I can review this, and I played it a bit, and I was like, I really can't review this until I play it 4-player because the have you either of you aware of it, played it at all?
Nope.
Actually, I got the Italian version like 2 months ago, and I am now in for the language version of the upgrade, so I will sell out my version. Anyway, it's cool. It's a cool game, yes.
Yeah, but there's that problem with like playing 1-player or even 2-player doesn't really give you the picture of the game until you play with 3 or 4 players and actually experience that whole. There's a moment, Cara, where every player has to like leave the game as part of the winning conditions, and they kind of leave everyone else abandoned. But if those people left behind get overrun and lose, then you're not winning.
Loses. Yes.
Everyone loses. So you've got, and you've also got limited communication as well. So you're kind of trying to figure out the best time and order for everyone to exit. And it's from what I've seen so far, it can be quite difficult, and it's a very hard co-op anyway. So it feels like a cooperative war game more than like many other things, which I like. I like it a lot, but I think like 1-player, the single player rules, solo rules are terrible. They're it's like when you play Forbidden Wilds, the climbing boss, climbing game.
No, not.
Yeah. Is it always the trouble is with the name. I'm gonna look it up.
I know which one you mean.
And,
yeah, it's not Forbidden Wilds. Is it Forgotten Wilds? I can't remember.
There is Wilds and something.
It's just constantly gets this Leviathan Wilds.
Okay, the one where you clean the.
Yeah, but like the solo rules for that suck in the same way, where you kind of play two things merged together into one deck, and I'm like, I may as well just play two-handed at this point because that's more interesting. But again, it doesn't really work, so I gotta wait, and that means I'm not gonna be able to review it for a long time because looking at it, I can't play it with my in-laws. They're gonna really struggle with that whole concept of like walking away from everyone and dealing with that kind of stuff. It's too much. They're more casual gamers. So I had to put that to one side and be like, I can't cover that, I can't cover this. So I literally only just got the co-op expansion for the War of the Rings, the card game. That's taken forever to arrive as well. That's like right here. Tiny little pile of stuff. Now I've dumped the box. So I do have bits of things to talk about, and that's what I've been focusing on more recently, now that I've finally put Dante's Inferno to bed, and I'm actually considering if I just sell it. If I could get the money I paid for it straight back, I might just sell it, because I don't... The replayability just isn't quite there. We'll see. But anyway, that's mostly been it. And then when it comes to snow, we've still got a giant pile of snow because of all the stuff that fell off the roof, really compacted. And the worst thing is it collapsed our picnic table because I didn't manage to get it tidied away before a big snowstorm hit, and then most of the snow shifted off the roof and collapsed onto it, and the whole thing just flattened. It's old. It needed replacement anyway because it was like handmade and it was falling apart. But we didn't really want to have to replace it this year, so I've got to. That's got to clear out because I can't even dig it out yet because it's still partially buried and it's like ice on top. But for the most part, the snow's disappeared everywhere else. It's just there. It's grabbing a hold of my pile of broken bench and going, "Yeah, you're not having this yet. Winter's still got it. Get lost." So that's what it's been like over here. Apart from there'll be a more relevant stuff on my subjects of what I've been doing. So that's 10B and Lanza Galzia and War Chest and other things that have been around. Beyond that, spring is starting to arrive, but it hasn't quite let go. Winter hasn't let go yet. How about you, Alessio?
Well, you reminded me that I have to play a bit of War Chest because that game is so cool. Anyway, do you know when you have a lot of things to talk about when everyone else is talking, and then it's your turn, and basically your mind is a blank slate because that's me now.
The trick I have is I am muted when someone else is talking, and I will write really quickly, like two words, 3 words, just to jog my memory, or open the website.
Yeah, but to heck with notes, so whatever. The first thing is, since you mentioned Leviathan Wilds, which is actually a pretty cool game to remind of, I pledged for Bokter recently, which is a Kickstarter of a game, which is a roguelite, self-gen, self-campaign, dungeon crawler played with cards, with meeples, which remind me a lot of aesthetics and a teeny bit of Leviathan Wilds for the way the meeples interact with the cards placed, which are the map of the dungeon. And since it looked cool, I wanted to mention it because it's it's going to get into the Open Pledge Manager, and it's probably worth taking a look at. Besides of that, like I said, there's the new Kickstarter, new crowdfunding campaign for Defenders of the Wild, and that means that I'm getting my English updated edition on top of the base Italian edition. And since I had a look at the updated rulebook, which is quite very simpler, I think it's deserving a shot, so I'm basically throwing away my Italian edition. So if you're listening and you want an Italian copy of Defenders of the Wild, please message me. I'll do something about it. And that's it. I think I played a bit of Knizia games these days. I played a bit of Meister Makatsu, which is a card game, themed or not themed, since it's an Knizia game about ninjas, which is pretty cool. I'll probably briefly talk about it eventually. And I managed to play a lot of Lost Cities for a reason. I always like it. There's nothing to say about the dual games from Runner Knizia. I will actually be covering a couple of those, and basically that's my week. I think. Oh.
We played The Old King's Crown.
Yeah, I kind of hoped that you would forget, but yes, now you remember. I played.
I don't think anyone could ever forget that thorough drubbing. Actually, let me teach you this game. Oh no,
she taught me this game. Yeah. Well, I have to say, with a 2 players count, it could happen that there is a divide of more than 10 points, but if it happens, someone did very bad at the game. So yeah, she played Clans, I played Uprising, and Uprising, as usual, got destroyed. So, post me your winning stats. I never win with Uprising, anyway. Hope you are enjoying the new campaign. It looks like Pablo Clark is keeping it up, and it looks like good work. I don't know if I will get the Wild Kingdom remastered, which is Waking Kingdom, I think. I don't know, because I don't really think that the game needs all the modules, but maybe just to give a bit of recognition to all the effort put in the game, I'll probably get it, or whatever. Anyway, that's basically all I have to say. That is more than I wanted to say, so we will play a rematch eventually, maybe with a full player count. I want to play Gathering. Anyway, I think we are ready to start. So, as I reckon, I think that Cara is the only one with a full topic, right?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, we'll keep you.
Then
We'll keep you in the middle. Yeah.
yeah, I was going to say in the middle or at the end, so we can actually finish strong.
Okay, let's finish strong with Cara. Also because if Cara talks before me, usually she takes all the time there's left. And I have 5 minutes.
Hey, there's not one single one of us who can complain about the others. Yeah, we all lionize time. We all get off on talking about something and then, like this, right here, just waste time.
Okay, so Fan, you start. And
yeah, okay.
I would like to say that I know what you are talking about, but I don't know, so I'll listen.
I have no clue.
Go on, Fan.
No, so we've already briefly talked about Defense of the Wild, so that's that god. That'll speed things up. So I'm actually going to talk about two things that, for me, are kind of become... Well, one of them at least is very, very Kingdom Death adjacent to the point that I'm contemplating writing about it on the Patreon, and the other one I'm definitely going to have to at some point. So I'm going to begin with the non-board gamey one, which I don't know how familiar you two are with it. You might be, you probably should be, but if not, that's fine. It's Edmund Macmillan's latest game, Mewgenics. Ring a bell at all?
Yeah, I wanted to purchase it on Steam, but not yet.
Yeah,
That's
right.
Yeah, video game, right?
Yeah,
video game. Yeah.
With the cats.
Yeah, with the cats. Yeah,
an astounding success of late.
Yes, it's one of the games that crashed Steam along with, I forget what the other was. Slay the Spire 2 did, and there was one other. They all like drove Steam to like working at a crawl. So the reason I want to talk about this is it's kind of heavily board game adjacent for me. It really like ticks a lot of boxes, and actually I think there's for people who want to get good at Kingdom Death and they're struggling, this can really help with like the mentals of it. So let me sort of talk about the game premise. I'm not going to go into deep detail because this is an Edmund Macmillan game. It's a roguelike. There's a load of secrets, layers upon layers upon layers of them, and the game gets really deep, like stupidly deep. But here's the basic concept. You're you, and you've been told to take this bunch of cats on an adventure. That's more or less the premise. This scientist guy is like, here you are. Here, have some cats. Go on an adventure. This is your house.
Oh,
so you start
looks
off with
incredibly cute.
yeah. Well, it's the same. If you've seen Binding of Isaac, you know kind of where it's going to go. It's cute, but it's gross cute. So you get given 4 cats at the start, and you are popped into a screen where you choose classes for them, and immediately it's like, okay, these are classic fantasy classes. You've got a tank, you've got a fighter, a hunter, a cleric, and a what's the last word of the
rogue.
4 starting ones? No. The thief turns up a bit later. Wizard. You get a wizard.
Oh yeah.
And you give them you give your cats a little collar, and it changes their color to make them identifiable as the particular unit, and it alters their stats a bit and gives them some starting skills, which they're called spells, but effectively every unit in the game can move a certain amount of distance based on their speed. They get to make 1 attack a turn, and then they can cast some spells which uses mana. And those spells can vary of being like healing, dealing damage, buffing, helping you move again, controlling the entire little arena, stuff like that. And then the journey you take on the game is like a bunch of nodes in a line, occasionally with branching choices, like do you want to go on the hard path or not? And there'll either be events where something happens, and it's a wide variety of different things, and they often involve skill checks. But nicely, you do get to see what the odds are, whether it's like you've got a good stat for the check or not. And sometimes you can look at the event and go, I'm not doing this, and you just walk away from it. But not always. Sometimes your cat is just like, no, I'm doing this. And you're like, but tank cat, you can't climb a fence. You're too slow. And he's like, no, I'm going to try anyway. But yeah. And then the rest of it is these little isometric arena combats, so like skirmishes, with your cats versus a bunch of different enemies. They might be rats, maggots, other cats, dogs, spiders. It could be a whole wide range of things, weird stuff, all drawn very cutely. And eventually you'll get to the end of your run and you'll go back home and those cats retire, which means they're not allowed to go on another adventure. They might have died along the way, in which case they're not coming back at all regardless. But once they retire, they will sit in your house and you can breed more cats from them, and sometimes other stray cats will come along and you can add those. And essentially, you're now looking to breed kittens or take stray cats in to make your next adventuring party and send them out and explore further. And as you do things, you'll unlock new areas, you'll unlock new gear, new classes, you will there's tons of stuff, and the retired cats become either your pool for curating your next hunt party, which that's the part that gets very, very deep. There is genetics that they pass on. Your cats can become inbred, cats can be ace or gay or hetero, or like a whole variety of different things, or even completely gender androgynous, and you slowly learn about them all. You try and pair up the right ones and breed cats with better and better base stats to take out. But also there's other people in the town and they'll take some of the cats, and so it's like one guy wants cats who've been through a certain area, another one wants cats that have retired, another one wants kittens only, or will take like cats who've had an injury, or just cats who are kind of 5 years old or more, or cats with mutations. So you're also handing off cats to the rest of the neighbourhood, and they gradually give you more unlocks that way. And that's part of the thing that I think really helps if somebody's struggling, because you suddenly, everything's disposable. You're not caring about the individual cats, although you do. I mean, I'll talk about one cat I had in a moment that was a great example of overcoming adversity. But you are, it's the continuation of the lineage. It's the house that matters. And eventually there is going to be bosses coming that they're coming at you. So they're like the Kingdom Death Nemesis bosses. And so all of this, I found it very interesting and helpful. We know Edmund Macmillan plays Kingdom Death because, well, first of all, there's a Kingdom Death reference in Mewgenics. The Lovelorn Rock turns up. Yep. And also the Gorm and the Butcher are in the board game version of The Binding of Isaac as well. So, and it almost feels like this game, he's played Kingdom Death and looked at it and gone, hey, what about this whole thing where you're, building for the next generation and building the lineage and you're sending them out and they're ultimately disposable? But what if I made it that they only ever go out once? They have a long time out. They do a whole run, which might take a few hours, even possibly. You can save in between sections and come back to it. Basically, the only time you can't quit out and save is in the middle of a fight. You'll get told off for doing that. But yeah, it feels very much like that. So I was like, it's really good for that kind of learning to let go and be like, okay, these individuals are transient, they are temporary, but they build on a lasting legacy. And so that's why I'm like, I think maybe I might write a piece about this. But I don't think, I can't really go into it in a lot of detail because you end up having to deal with a lot of, tons of things. Like breeding the cats, there's so many variables to make good cats because you need to avoid them being inbred, you need to get the best stats, you need to learn how to pass on the stats, you need to stop the cats getting angry with each other and fighting. It's kind of just, there's a lot to it, but it's not too hard to get into. And it's really fun as well for teaching you about how classes work, because you get the traditional starting classes. You can usually go, okay, I want a tank, I want a healer, I want 2 damage dealers, or I want a damage dealer and a support. But eventually the classes sort of vary a lot, and you have to learn the strengths of each, and you can build parties that just don't have that. They're all, and there's no healer because every single unit can slightly heal themselves when they're doing things and things like that. So it's absolutely fascinating. And as I said, I would. So one of my most recent runs, I had a problem where my cats were not producing enough kittens. They were getting really annoyed with each other. So I had three cats that I was like, these guys I want to take out, but I had to pick a reject for the remaining. Someone who had some problems, and there's this one cat that cropped up called Mom, and I was like, okay, all right, you're the best of the remaining, and I'll bring you along. And then when I launched it, I realised Mom had not just a little bit of a problem. Mom had a major problem. She was so inbred that if she didn't eat food every turn, she would get confused and start punching herself. So I was like, oh dear, I got to like. Because like 50% chance of hitting herself every turn, what can I do? Is she just going to walk around and get punched? But even then, if you want to be defensive like a tank, you need to use your abilities to protect yourself somewhat, not just your HP. So I picked a late game class. I'm not going to get into what it is, so spoilers, but that class allowed her to produce food on attacking. And then it turned out that I managed to, while leveling up, I got an ability that she could hoover up pickups that were nearby, so she'd hit something, the food would fall to the ground, she could then suck it into her to eat it, and then even further down the line in the run, she got the ability to regurgitate, so she could throw up and injure herself slightly to make some food, and then eat it and heal more. So I had this kind of gross, deformed buffoon in the group who was just wandering around, smacking things, eating everything in sight. And when there's nothing to eat, she'd just throw it up and then eat it again and go, mmm. And I was like, my goodness, this is the most characterful idiot I've ever had. She gets to stay in the house even though she's absolutely awful and I do not want to breed from her just because of that. I want to see how old the mom can get. And she can lord it all over all the other cats. So it's really fun dealing with adversity, and sometimes it just comes together and you realise this is the solution, and it just focuses in. She was my frontline tank. She was my main damage dealer. She did everything by the end of it. She was an absolute champ, but she was useless at the start. So, yeah, big recommendation for Mewgenics. If you like strategy games, if you like XCOM, and you do not mind that you will have these units being ephemeral, being temporary, and perhaps all that will be left of them eventually is maybe a screenshot and a memory, that's okay. And yeah, like you say, it's cute, but it's ugly cute. You know, there's some gross stuff in there.
I mean, wherever else you can find the sentence uttered, she was so inbred that she will start eating herself when she doesn't eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it in wishlist. I actually have it. I've had it in wishlist for a month and something now, and still no discount. So eventually I'll just have to fold in and play.
It will likely not have a discount for a fairly long time. I bought it on
it sells so well.
Yeah, I bought it on the launch day because I was like, the 10% off on launch day is as good as it's gonna get for a while.
Yeah, I picked the Slade Spire 2 and then playing that one in early access, so whatever.
Yeah, my partner and I are playing Slade Spire 2 in early access. I also, last big recommendation, when you're playing through a level, each region has its own like theme song. Mm-hmm. The bosses add lyrics to that theme song, and they will get stuck in your head.
Yeah, I heard about the OST actually. Yes,
it's an incredible soundtrack. It's really good, really really good. So that's it. And the other one is I'm gonna talk about Magic. I'm gonna talk about the latest Magic set. So before I get into that, first of all, the latest Magic set is actually Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, great!
Yeah, I know. I Turtles is like my favourite property growing up. The 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series, I love it. I've even started watching it again, and man, it does hold up because they do retellings of the original stories from the comics, which were really dark, but they do it in a lighter fashion. But it is worth noting that when that show aired, several episodes were banned. They weren't even allowed to go on Nickelodeon, and an entire season was like pulled before it aired because it was too much for kids. They went, so it's like, knowing the original story, I can relate. I can understand why. You know what happens to Shredder at the end of the first sort of arc in the comic, the original comic?
When he wanted to, I have to say yes, no, or spoil. Whatever, I know. When Leonardo gives him a katana to to commit seppuku?
It's similar to that. At the end of the first season of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2003, Leonardo decapitates Shredder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And that's that. I watched that and I was like, oh wow, I've never thought they'd do that in a kids cartoon. And there's all sorts of reasons why it works and was there. But anyway, this is part of like Universes Beyond is what the whole project is called. It started, I think, 2017, where they had the Secret Lair Walking Dead, and they brought the Walking Dead characters in, and they were all like mechanically unique. And the trouble with Secret Lair is it's a limited printing, and once it's gone, it's gone. So they were making these new unique cards, and people were like, well, what happens if they're good? What can we do? And Wizards went, don't worry, we'll print in-universe versions of these guys. That's going to happen. Which needed to, because Rick Steadfast Leader, Rick from The Walking Dead, turned out to be a really good card. So good that even the in-universe version, which they did print, still is like about €40 for one card, and you need 4. Yeah, he's €45 still at the cheapest possible price.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool, great, isn't it? Anyway, people tolerated it, and it went okay, and there was little things like they did the Warhammer 40k Commander Deck series, which were 4 Commander decks that were all very good and very well received, and people were okay with that because it was just going into Commander, and then along came Lord of the Rings, and people were like absolutely fine with that. It went straight into Modern and messed up Modern thanks to Orcish Bowmaster and the One Ring being absurdly powerful. But what happened last year is Wizards announced that they were going to be putting Universes Beyond directly into Standard. If you're not familiar with the formats, Standard is one of Wizards of the Coast's flagship competitive formats. It's Modern, Standard, and Limited are the 3 that they really like flagship, and Standard is the biggest one, most because it's on Arena and Modern isn't on Arena, so like Standard's a big important thing. And they also announced they're like, we'll be putting more sets out. So it's something like 7 sets in a year now instead of 3 or 4. So it's so crunched. But what happened last year is Final Fantasy came out and people loved it. Best-selling set of all time. Did really, really, really well. And I'm not a Final Fantasy fan, but I can see why it was immensely popular. My brother loved it. He doesn't play Magic. He actually bought a ton of it and started playing Magic because of it. And that's happened to a number of people. And then they had some in-universe stuff. And then Avatar: The Last Airbender came out. And that was really well received. Apparently a really, really good... It's a really, really good set. And really thematically accurate. I still have no inclination to watch Avatar. But between those was a set called Spider-Man. I don't remember the full name of it at all. It's the worst set that they have put out since... I don't know when. Maybe since Fallen Empires and Homelands. It's that bad.
Actually, I liked Fallen Empires. It has the Goblin Grenade.
Yeah, Fallen Empires has some bangers, but the really good cards in Fallen Empires are really, really well above the rest, like Hymn to Torach and things.
The first deck when you could play white-black actually with some sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But since Homelands, really, it's a terrible, terrible set, and that's because it was a small set that they were suddenly pushed to put into Standard, so they added a ton of extra cards to it, didn't test it properly, and also they followed the thing of, like Spider-Man is a multiversal concept, anyone can be Spider-Man is a big part of that, so they had a bunch of different Spider-Men, and they couldn't get the license for Spider-Man to be on Arena, so they even had to make a whole in-universe version of the Spider-Man set just for Arena. So it's a complete mess, and people got very angry about it. And then Lorwyn came out, the Lorwyn Eclipsed, which is a return to Lorwyn. Lorwyn's an amazing place. It's one of 2 Magic settings based on Welsh mythology, which is why it's really cool. If you want to know ever why someone goes, why is this a really cool part of British mythology? It's because it's Welsh in origin most of the time, apart from Robin Hood. The English can have Robin Hood. No problem there. You've got Oliver Cromwell and Robin Hood. Be happy. And then the Turtles was announced, and some kind of like cauldron spilled over, like some balloon popped, and people went ballistic with hostility towards it because like there's a lot of pizza, and so they decided to do a bunch of pizza lands, which are lands with slices of pizza on them, and it's cartoon pizza, and it's always looked a bit kind of gross in the cartoons. That's sort of part of the point, is it's being quickly drawn and it's very stringy and goopy. But also it's set in New York, the same as the Spider-Man thing, and it's a smaller set. And so I have been sat here, well, not just sat here, but whenever I've looked up on online discourse about this set, it was just people going, I hate it, it's ugly, it's stupid, it's rushed, it's sloppy, it's terrible, it's bad, why are there so many different turtles, what the heck is this fugitive droid, and just people calling it a lazy cash-in. And I was like, no, everything I've seen is, they've obviously done their own setting version of the Turtles, but they've homaged and looked at the franchise from like the 1980s all the way until now, and really respected it. You know, there's like deep cuts and a whole bunch of interesting characters covered. I'm not going to go massive details because I want to actually get onto the product. But I'm going to pop this really quickly into our chat. For the viewers, if you want to see this card, this is Turtles Forever from the MTG set. It is a white card. It's an instant, which means, you know, you can cast it at any time you have priority. It costs 3 colourless and a white. And it searches your library and outside game for exactly 4 legendary creature cards you own with different names, then reveal those cards. An opponent chooses 2 of them, put them in your hand, and shuffle the rest into your library. Now, ignoring the mechanics of this, if you don't know what you're looking at, you see that artwork? You might be asking, like, what's going on there? And the answer is, this card is referencing 5 different eras of the Turtles. So on the left, you've got Donatello from the movies. That's the one they're dressed up in the suit.
The original movies.
The original movies. Then there's Raphael from the 1980s, 1990s comic TV series. That's the one with the really catchy theme song. Then there's Leonardo from the 2012 series, animated series. That's Michelangelo from the original comic book run, the original Michelangelo. And then Turtles Forever is from the end of the 2003 series, where they did this multiversal crossover between a bunch of different turtles from different things. And that is just one deep cut that they did. I was like, this is really cool. So, yeah, as a fan, this set's been incredible. I really enjoyed playing it. And it turns out it's actually really good. It's a small set. It has an amazing draft environment, really interesting. There's only 190 cards, so you could draft it maybe 10, 15 times, and then after that you start to see the same things over and over, sure. But it's incredibly well balanced. It's made with such care and love. And you know what's the response from the community as being? I've read people now going, oh, I hate that they made good cards in the Turtle set because now I have to play with turtles in my decks. And it's like, could you stop moving the goalposts? You called this a sloppy, bad, pointless set, that it was terrible and rubbish, and now you're complaining that it's actually not that, and it's had care and attention and work put into it. So I felt really like hollowed out and sad throughout this run-up period, because I didn't like any of the other Universe Beyond products particularly. Doctor Who was kind of cool, 40k, yeah, I know some of it, whatever. The rest, I was looking forward to the Turtles, and it was just sucked to see people bashing on this, and still bashing on it now, despite it being good. It's a good set, it's a good limited environment. And that's a shame. That's a real shame that it's still happening. Still, that brings us to this product here. This is a little cube, a hefty cube, called the Turtle Team Up. It's about €35, which is really good. And key thing, this is a Magic product that has unique cards printed in it, which means that it's more likely to hold value if you ever decided to resell it. I don't recommend picking up Magic for the purposes of reselling. That's very difficult to do without being a store and getting bulk discounts and stuff. But like, it's hard to tell with board games if they're going to keep their value or not. This one may well do. And what it gives you is a 1 to 4 player co-op boss battler. So you have 4 decks, one for each of the turtles. They're pre-constructed, they have some unique things, but they have designed to like help each other out and interact with each other in various ways, which I think is really cool. And then you have a boss deck and an event deck. So the boss deck has 10 different bosses. You shuffle up and you have 3 of them. You'll face 1 initially, and once you beat that first boss by dealing enough damage, you'll face 2, and then you'll face 3 in the final wave. So gradually escalating arc of difficulty. Each of these bosses have their own unique ability that triggers under certain things. Like, for example, the Rat King gives all ninjas death touch, so if you block them, you automatically dies. Or Shredder has you lose a life whenever a creature that they control dies. And then the event deck, I didn't count how many it is, but it's not super large. And you draw 2 of these each turn, and they either give you enemies that are going to attack you. All of them can't block, so you don't have to worry about that. So it's very nice and simple. Just like the Foot Enforcer here is a 6/3 that cannot block and can't be blocked by more than one creature. Quite scary to deal with, but the players get to work as a team with a shared life total, and as a team they can choose how they're going to block each of these or remove them. And that's it. It like plays in like 30 minutes, maybe an hour if you were playing with all 4 players. It is challenging and difficult. You can even play other decks against it, and I'm honestly really impressed with how little the rule modifications required. It's like it's very light on the rules as long as you know how to play Magic. It's not doing too much extra. It encourages a lot of cooperation, and I'm really excited because I'm going to build a Turtles cube, and then the whole thing will be drafting a deck and playing it against this boss as the like final thing, rather than drafting cube decks and playing against each other. You know, having a cooperative way to play and having it work is really cool. So that's it. It's like, if you want a self-contained Turtles themed like Magic experience for co-op, or you can play against each other, the decks can be pit against each other in a 4v4. It's really good, and I'm just surprised on the price. I really am. And there's genuinely some incredibly good cards in the sets, even if you weren't looking to just keep it in one thing. So I was kind of surprised. That's it. Yep, here I am. I'm done. The Turtles set's really good, and I really like everything in it. And yeah, that's it. I'm all finished.
Oh, great. Actually, you said a lot of stuff about Magic. I don't think I can follow everything, but I know cubes. So, interesting, of course. Anyway, I think it's my turn, Cara, because I can talk about games this way.
Okay.
Okay, so I will bring very quickly 2 great Knizia classics, Iliad and Ichor, which are from a Bitewing crowdfunding campaign from 2 years ago. They are hitting the shelves. Actually, they've been hitting the shelves for the past 6 months, and they are mostly readily available from various publishers across the world. The one more distributed, more widespread, is Ichor, and well, we'll talk about them. Let's start with Ichor. These 2 games are based about ancient Greek mythological battles. In Ichor we see the battle of gods against Titans, monster, let's say, for the control of Mount Olympus. This kind of happened, actually, happened in mythology, actually, and Ichor is actually referring to the name that ancient Greeks used to refer to mythological creatures' blood. that for both for deities or monster or whatever, it's called Ichor in ancient Greek, and Ichor is basically the direct
Yeah.
translation. That's it. In Ichor, you are playing in a. There is an easy mode and an advanced mode. The difference is the grid you are playing on, because in easy mode you are playing on a 5x5 grid, and in hard mode, in normal mode, let's say, you are playing on a 7x7 grid. And in this game you are basically playing gods against monsters. One player takes the gods, another player takes the monsters. You have two games in which you switch sides, and with the point difference you get from both games summed up, you get the final winner of the game. How do you play? You basically have your pieces, which are each a god drafted from a pool of actually one more than needed, than available for the set. In the base set there is an expansion with 4 more gods and monsters, so actually you're drafting from actually you're not drafting, you are picking randomly. So that's it, you are picking your gods. Each god has the standard set of moves, which is basically they can move in any direction until stopping, orthogonal direction until stopping on this grid. Otherwise, each god has a special power. Since the powers are asymmetrical between factions, although some powers are repeated, like the power from Aphrodite, which is basically you can copy the power of that the monster just used, and Medusa has this. I don't remember if it's Medusa now. Anyway, there is a monster which has the same power, because that's actually a game changer. The two sides are asymmetrical, and each god or monster has a special power to play. In your turn, you pick one god or one monster. You decide if you want to use their special power, or you decide to move them. When you move them, you basically leave around a trail of pieces. That's the Ichor, which spawns fighters for their side, meaning that you are basically leaving tokens on your trail. You are leaving a trail horizontally or vertically, or with your special movement. For instance, Athena can move in three separate directions in one move, meaning that she can put like an L shape of tokens around. There is the Cyclops. I think that I don't remember the name of the monsters, but anyway, we are unprepared. So there's the Cyclops, which can take two moves, one after the other, and then it's eliminated from the game. And you keep going with powers like this. The powers are all very powerful, but they aren't completely replacing the basic movement, meaning that you are basically, like in all Knizia game, playing a very simple game with a lot of depth. Because what do you do now? You play your power, risking that the opponent will copy it and take a win, or you just go defending and moving over the tokens left by your opponent so that you can remove them and replace with yours, or you can go in this other direction where you can put a full row of your tokens unimpeded. The goal of the game is putting on the game board all of your tokens. When no tokens remain in your reserve, you have won the game, and the points you score are the difference between the tokens you placed and the tokens that your opponent placed. The game is simple as that, plays in 10 minutes, and it is a lot of fun. Very simple rules, asymmetrical combinations, which are actually very deep, especially if you have the expansion with additional monsters. In the expansion there is also one specific monster that, when it is in play, it gives both the gods and the monsters an alternate victory condition, which moves things around a little bit more. There is a second expansion to the game, which comes free from the... Actually, not exactly free, it's incorporated in the deluxe package that you get from the crowdfunding campaign, and you paid more for that, so it's not free at all. Which is portals. I don't like those. Basically, when you move in portals, you activate a special ability depending on the portal you are in, and the game is basically all there. One thing I have to say about Ichor, these are games which use a cloth mat. I hate cloth maps. The only two games where a cloth map is working are Steam Power, because the cloth map doesn't need to be ironed at all, and Eternal Decks, because the game is so cool that I don't care if there is a cloth map. All other games with a cloth map suck. Even Dreadfleet, which is a strategy game, an old game from Games Workshop, which uses a bit of
Dreadfleet sucks for other
Yeah,
reasons.
yes. Dreadfleet.
It is not Man of War.
Yeah, exactly, because reminds a lot of Manowar, but it is a bit more balanced. That has to be said, but it leaves you with wanting a bit more epicity in the end. But even Dreadfleet, which has the mat, the cloth mat, which is a necessity, and it's cool in the global aspect of the game, which is beautiful, I have to say, especially fully painted. Even that cloth mat sucks so hard. You don't need to use cloth mats suck. Anyway, both games have cloth mats, they both suck, but I have to say one thing about Ichor: the deluxe edition is arguably worse than the basic edition. I mean that in the basic edition you get wooden tokens and firm cardboard standees for the gods. In the deluxe edition you get resin for those and acrylic standees, and they are, I don't know, they feel wrong. Resin is brittle, as you know from Root, the clearing markers, which get destroyed basically over time. I don't know. I like more the wooden cardboard version of the game. Anyway, the game is beautiful and is recommended. You can have 3-4 games in a row and barely notice it because it's so cool. It's fast to play. You can play it with kids or with adult people. Every time you pull that victory move is so satisfying, especially if you manage to pull out a win with the Cyclops, or if you are using Artemis to kill off an opponent. She basically has a power where if she reaches an opponent, she can destroy herself and the opponent. So she's the Huntress goddess anyway. So the game is beautiful. It works, it is fully asymmetric, and is a lot of fun. This is a recommendation, but this is one of the two games I'm talking about, because the other one is Iliad, and Iliad is superior. Superior in every sense, and it's such a shame that Iliad is not so widespread as Ichor is. I can see in all stores a copy of Ichor. I cannot see a copy of Iliad for sale. Even in this case, let me say from starters that the deluxe edition is pointless, I could say. At least you have this big temple, which is just raising for the tokens you are putting to the side of the board. So bit pointless. The rest is a token upgrade. I have to say the wooden tokens, which are part of the upgrade, they are cool in this case. How do you play Iliad? Iliad plays in a checkerboard, which is cool because you play the reds against the blues. The blues are the Trojans, the reds are the Greeks. You are playing Hector versus Achilles, and Achilles is not invincible. I have to point this out, and it wasn't in the original myth anyway. And you are playing in this checkerboard. The checkerboard has a sequence of red and blue squares. You can place your pieces only in the squares of your color, and they have always to be adjacent to a piece of the opponent, meaning that you are basically building blocks of tokens. A tokens is said that it is open when there is at least one side which is not surrounded by enemies, and a token is not open if that doesn't happen. You basically play tokens like tiles on this board, and the magic happens. Now, when Knizia makes a game, when you play tiles, you must be very careful because the game is probably very, very good. In this case, the magic of Iliad is that you are, at the start of the game, you are placing at the border, through all the perimeter of the table, you are placing bonus cards which represent the favor of the gods. These favors give you points, but they are mixed with minus points, with negative points, and special different cards, meaning that since you are placing them randomly, there are rows and columns where at the two extremes there are negative points. Or for instance, there is a very good point from one god, and at the other end there is a minus 10 points, which is basically crippling. And the game is all like this. You have these rows and columns with bonuses at the two extremes. When you place tiles, the tiles have a strength and a special power. Only the tiles with a strength of 5, which is the highest strength, they have no special power. All the other tiles have a special power. There is the tile with 1, which lets you move a piece of your opponent. There is the tile with 2, which lets you move around one piece you already placed of yours. The 3, the tile with 3, with the strength of 3, which lets you exchange one of your tokens that you get from prizes with another token which has not yet been claimed. And there is the token with the power of with the power of 4, which self-destructs together with an adjacent token of the enemy. And there is the Dolos token, which is the cunning token, when you basically play it and the token gets the strength of the two opponents next to it. Meaning that when you complete a row, you just score points. You see who scored the highest. The player who scored the highest gets both the prizes at the ends of the board for that row or column. And you play the game like this. At the end, you will have a set of tokens, which are positive or negative. So you can play in a way that you can force your opponent to take the negative token. So you can play in a way to neutralize your opponent when they think they are winning. And you both are doing the same. What's the cool part with the scoring? It's not that you just sum up all the points you got, positive and negative. You get to enter final scoring only if you have at least one piece from all gods. Meaning that if you have all 5 gods in the game, you can have final scoring. Otherwise, you have already lost. If no players got all the gods, then in that case you see if there is one player who received both wedding tokens, which are special tokens which give no points and do nothing else except being both available for final scoring. In that case, if there is one player with both tokens and at least 4 gods, they won the game and the other not. Otherwise, in all the case of ties, you get the highest point you get with a single token from each god, plus the sum of all bonuses and negatives from the tokens that do not belong to any god. Now, I used a lot of words to say that this is a game when you complete rows and columns, you get bonuses and you get maluses, and in the end the scoring has the usual Knizia trick when you have to achieve a side objective before scoring, and the game is so cool. It plays slightly longer than Ichor. It plays with a lot more techniques. It has a bag from which you draw. You always have just one among two tiles to choose at any given moment, and you have to fill a checkerboard with the tiles. This game is so cool. Play it. It's beautiful. Iliad for me. Iliad and Ichor. Both recommendation. If you have to pick one, pick Iliad because it's worth it. Rainer Knizia, I guarantee. That's me. Done.
Okay.
Any questions?
I'm afraid not, but I managed to find both games of Board Game Geek while you're talking about it because they answered a lot of the questions while you were talking. Yep.
Anyway, they are $40-$35 games. They are pretty cool. They should be widely available. Like I said, Ichor more than Iliad. There's no wrong in Ichor, which is asymmetric, but you really want Iliad. So that's my humble opinion. Of course, they are both worth in their own right. I'm so happy to have got them. Also, it's possibly worth mentioning that when Bitewing Games does a crowdfunding campaign, you can usually get the older games they published when in the Pledge Manager. Meaning that, for instance, I got Cascadero from Rainer Knizia when I bought Iliad and Ichor. So that's probably worth it if you are planning to get something from Bitewing in the near future. Anyway,
Ichor is a re-implementation of Battle for Olympus. Okay.
I really don't know. I didn't check the Board Game Geek page.
It's listed on. I've just gone Board Game Geek. Apparently, the number one. If you like Ichor, the number one thing that other people like is Iliad, and vice versa, which is kind of fun. Cool. Go ahead.
Anyway, since it's Rainer Knizia, it's probably an implementation of something else, because all games are an implementation of something else. And that brings me to the fact that Cara is the one with a complete prepared game professionally with notes, a Cara review, and I couldn't bother with knowing the name of the game in advance. So, Cara, what are you talking about today?
It's right there in the
yeah, I know, it's the only one, but I don't remember. I can check.
I can't. You don't remember, and you can't even click two buttons to get there.
You have your
Solani.
You had your chance at hosting. If you didn't want this mess, you could avoid this train wreck.
Don't start wielding hosting as a weapon, otherwise I'll go back to hosting all the time and you'll have to deal with segues. But they'll come right when you're just getting towards the completion of your talk, and I'll just segue away and you'll be like, but I haven't finished.
Anyway, Cara, please talk about Solani.
Yes, Solani. It is a game by Final Frontier Games, rest in peace, and was on Kickstarter in 2021, fulfilled in 2023. It's an abstract tile-laying / drafting game for 1 to 4 players. And last episode, I talked about Netatanka.
Yes.
And I talked about the issues with its theme, with the whole exploitation of native cultures. And I said that this time I will talk about a game that does that well. Not the exploitation part, but the utilizing native cultures as the background for its theme. It already starts with the name. Solani is not a name of the culture it's based on, but a portmanteau of 2 words in the Navajo language, which basically kind of translates to many stars. And it already gives an idea of what this game is about. It's about stars. It's about the sky. More precise, it's about the Navajo stories around how the sky was
There's
created.
a coyote.
I'm sorry? Oh, yes, coyote. Yes. It's part of the story, yes. At first you might think, okay, it's an abstract tile-laying game. Theme, really? Yes, there's a lot of theme in there. Let's talk about the game first, and then I'll talk about the theme. The game plays over 12 rounds. Each player takes the role of one character in the story, and just, fills the sky with different features. There are star clusters, planets, connections, basically branches between different features, and there are specific astral features like star signs or stuff like that. And each turn there is a drafting phase. So in a 3-player game, for example, you lay out 4 star clusters and 4 branches, and starting player decides, do they want to pick a star cluster or do they want to pick a branch? If they decide, yes, I'll pick a star cluster, everyone else also has to pick a star cluster first in turn order. And then it goes the other way around for the branches. So the last player to pick a star cluster is the first one to pick a branch. And once a player has a branch and a star cluster, they can immediately place them on their board and see if they fulfill some special criteria for scoring. And in the end, the core objective is to basically around each star clusters, which are these very nice wooden tiles with printed on blue stars. You want to have a number of branches connecting to the star clusters according to the number of stars on them. So if you have a star cluster with 4 stars, you want 4 branches connecting to it, and then you get 4 points. If you don't have 4 branches, you don't get points. And that's the core of it. Then there are also specific scoring tiles that give extra points for certain constellations. There are the planet features that can be acquired during the game, and then you can place a planet instead of a star cluster. Planets score points if they are not connected to branches. And at the start of the game, everyone gets 4 red branch tokens, basically dark branches that don't connect to anything. They are put in specific locations on your board. And once you have no free branch spots around them, you flip them over and you may place one of your astral features. Each player gets 4 random features at the start of the game, and they can be placed the same way as star clusters or planets, and have a specific scoring criteria. So if you place your astral feature, you check, okay, how many points do I get for this if I place it in this position? And that's basically the game. The theme. Even though it's an abstract game, it drips with theme. It starts with the rulebook. After the page with the components, you have a page talking about the Navajo's concept of astronomy and how their stories are taught. And also that they point out that what they're talking about in this game, like where they reference things, can't be considered wholly accurate because there are different variations in different tribes, and each storyteller might give a story its own twist or flavor. And so what they present here is just one of those many different ways you might be able to tell these stories. And then there is a big disclaimer, because on the following 2 pages is the story of how the sky was created according to Navajo legend. And there is this big disclaimer saying, look, this story, or these stories about, creation are traditionally told during the months from October to March, not outside of these months. So they ask you, don't read these stories outside of these months.
But it's March.
Yes, and especially don't read them out loud outside of these months. And that's why I'm actually not doing it now, because I'm not sure how it works with recordings, because I'm pretty sure there might be listeners who listen to this episode in April.
No, they won't.
But yeah, so there are 2 pages, basically the story with basically like a comic in the Navajo art style, telling how the sky was created, and other aspects where you have the theme. You have these player boards, beautiful player boards made out of neoprene, so neoprene mats. There are 5 in total. One shared one where you place the planet and star cluster tiles for drafting. Yes, and then each player gets basically a sky board.
Stitched neoprene. That's deluxe.
Yes, stitched neoprene boards for everyone. And they are beautiful, and each board is basically the same, except at the bottom there are different characters from the story. One of them is the coyote. And so depending on which board you get, you can see, okay, hey, yeah, I'm this character, I'm that character. So, and all, in this Navajo art style. Just look at pictures online, it's beautiful. Except if you don't like the art style, then you probably won't find it beautiful. But you might still appreciate the production quality. And then the part where the way...
The Cara review. I'm
amazed.
Part. Yeah.
No, and honestly, there's one really tiny thing that's like, it's so perfect, and this one part isn't perfect. But the thing that I think it's amazing, and how, the whole theme, the culture is implemented here, is with these astral features. You have a pretty big deck of cards with different astral features. Every player gets 4 at random, dealt 4 at random at the start. For each astral feature, you get a nice chunky wooden tile to place on your board during game with, a picture of the feature on it. And these cards, they have the name in 2 languages. First in Navajo and then in English. Then, again, the depiction of the feature. For example, here I have the rabbit tracks. I won't try to read the Navajo name. I will just butcher it. And after that, you have, your how it's scored, how you get points for this. And then at the bottom, in cursive, you have basically the lore behind this feature in Navajo culture. It doesn't really matter for playing the game, but it's just really nice to have there. So yes, sure. So when I place this rabbit in the western part of my sky, I get points, and if it shares the sky with at least 2 bright stars, I get another point. But I also learn from reading this card that this marks the beginning of the hunting seasons. So in Navajo culture, when this feature is in the sky, they know, oh, it's time to start hunting. Yeah? Or another one, the mountain sheep. which is associated with healing. And when this shines overhead, the Navajo perform a special ceremony. And that's, just in there because it's nice. And hey, you have a game based on their culture. You create the night sky and you place these astral features from their culture. It's really nice to be informed what they actually mean, what the significance of these features in their culture is. And that's just amazing.
That's cool. I don't want to be disrespectful here, so I won't probably say that it's like when we play Blood Bowl and we play when we read the manual to read the did you know blurbs, but actually lore blurbs are pretty cool, and I knew the legend of how the stars went into the sky, and I'm a big fan of the coyote in Native American mythology. So great. Actually, is the game any fun?
Yes, it's an abstract tile laying game. It's about figuring out which tile do I take, where do I place it. There is in the Kickstarter version there were like 2 small expansions which shake it up a little bit, but not a lot. I like it, and honestly, I think without this production quality and the theme, for me it would be an okay game. But with all that, I really love the game because I really think the theme and how it's implemented here elevates this game to another level. Yeah? Production quality, as I mentioned, all these tiles are just nice, chunky wooden tiles that come in big cloth bags. And the cards are nice. They don't have a scoring pad. They have a like foiled scoring tablet and a marker. So dry erase marker to write down your scores, and after the game then erase it again for the next game. Even just the starting player tile is it's the sun from the creation myth, and
not a smiley face.
Not a smiley face.
Non-emoji.
And so yeah, which leads me to the one criticism.
Here it is. Go, Cara.
On the central board, like the central neoprene mat, where you put down the tiles for drafting, there is a scoring. So you have markers and you can put down your scores there. It goes up to 20. You might score more than 20 points. So obviously you need something to signify, hey, I'm over 20, I'm starting a new round now. You have these nice stitched edge neoprene mats. You have all these different chunky wooden tokens. And to signify you already got 20 points, you get a plastic green star.
Yeah. The game is ruined. Okay, I hate this.
It's so weird. It doesn't fit into anything here. I remember when I unboxed it and oh my god, and I saw these 4 plastic like really bright green stars. What?
Am I too old? Do you remember a cartoon character called Rainbow Bright or something like that?
No.
Okay, she was the kind of character.
That's My Little Pony, so you don't even have to be.
Yeah, it's like the original My Little Ponies. That's the kind of character that could use that star.
Yeah, it would really fit into My Little Pony. But
wait, no. Rainbow Bright apparently isn't a pony, so I don't know.
No, Rainbow Bright. I think the My Little Pony you were thinking of is Rainbow Dash, and I hate myself for knowing that. But
hey, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is amazing.
No, go Google it on Google Images. Rainbow Bright is kind of a kid, of annoying kid with all the colors of the rainbow, who spreads the power of love and is very 80 cartoons. And she could use those stars, yes.
So yeah, anyway.
And that's curious because you usually flip the scoring marker, which has a +20 side on it, which should...
Yeah.
Maybe they had a lot of these kicking around in the factory and were like, hey, we can give you these as markers at no extra charge. They're
I'll take them.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, fine.
We'll figure out
I
what
mean,
to do with them
they
later.
could have just, added 4 more wooden point markers.
No, you can
and
flip
printed.
them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know what happened here, but again, as I said before, it's like this one tiny thing. When I'm looking for criticism, that's the one.
Okay, don't get Solani. It sucks.
It has plastic stars in it.
Yeah, it has plastic stars.
So yeah, big recommendation from me. I suppose it's kind of hard to get because with
It's Kickstarter.
and the publisher is like bankrupt. But maybe if you find a used copy somewhere.
So you basically are
Check it
flexing a game we cannot get.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Okay, your time is done.
I mean, you can visit me and we can play together. So yeah.
Okay, we will get our ass whooped by Cara in yet another game. Okay, I keep underestimating you.
I actually think there is a tabletop simulator mod for it. If you want to try a game.
First, I need to have my revenge at Old King's Crown before getting in there. Anyway,
You can try.
You're never going to let this go. Just sometimes you get beaten, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. It's okay. You're not the
no
Old
matter
King
how
Crown
many
expert of the podcast.
Yeah, no
absolutely.
matter how many times you win against me, I will always have won the first game against you.
Yeah.
Oh, that is some villain spouting nonsense. That is fantastic.
I don't know. I figured I was the villain here. So anyway, I think that's all we have for today. So here we are. We have been the last Standee. That's all we have. And you can catch us up somewhere on the internet, probably on the platform you are listening.
You weren't kidding when you said you weren't prepared.
I am not prepared. I am not prepared. You can get us. You can catch us up on patreon.com/thelaststandee. And until next episode, it's a goodbye from Cara.
Bye.
From Fan.
Goodbye.
From myself. And remember that if there were an I in Standee, it would be for Iliad, not Ichor. Okay, I was unprepared. Yeah.
There's an R in that for reaching as well.